Hello guys, what's up? My name is Mortaza and I welcome you all to this next video of my C# training tutorial. In this episode, I have decided to talk about identifiers. Now, whenever you declare a variable, you must choose a name for that variable. Not only variables, methods, for example, functions, classes, which we are going to talk about in our upcoming videos, all need identifiers. Identifiers are, in a nutshell, unique names that you assign to your variables, and then you can refer back to your variables using that unique name. So that is very important. I mean, your variables should have unique names. You cannot use the same name for two different variables. For example, you cannot say, okay, I have a variable of type int. I'm going to call it my age, right? And then I'm going to have a variable of type a string, and I'm going to call it again my age with something like this. You're not allowed to do this because, as I told you, you must assign, unique identifiers to your variables. So this is not allowed. Now, when it comes to choosing a name for a variable, you can use one single letter names. For example, you can assign M as the name for this variable, which is of course not a good practice. It is against, the best practices of clean code, which I will probably be talking about in one of my other series. It is better to choose, descriptive names, meaningful names. Choosing meaningful names makes your code, cleaner, more maintainable, understandable, not only for yourself in the future, but for other programmers as well. And there are some more, guidelines and conventions when it comes to choosing a name for your variables. For example, it is better to use camel casing for your local variables, as opposed to, for example, Pascal casing, which are mainly used when it comes to choosing a name for a class or a method. Camel casing is when you put the first, word of your identifier all in lowercase, and then the next words, have their first letter as uppercase. For example, my age, this is camel case because my as a single English word has all its letters in lowercase, and the next word, age, has the first letter A in capital, in uppercase. This is called camel casing, as opposed to, for example, this one, which is Pascal case, in which you put the first letter of each word in, uppercase, and all the other letters are in lowercase. Another very important thing that you need to know is that I have talked about this before. C# is a case-sensitive language. Case-sensitive. It means that for C#, this my age and this one are two different things, are two different unique identifiers, because they are not the same in terms of casing. Casing means uppercase letters or, lowercase letters. Some other programming languages do not differentiate between uppercase letters or lowercase letters, but in terms of C#, these two are different. This is very important. Remember that C# is a case-sensitive language. Now, another thing that I want to talk about is some rules. When it comes to choosing a name or an identifier for your variables, there are some rules that you must follow. For example, you cannot use the reserved keywords in C# for your identifiers. If you want to know, for example, about the reserved keywords in C#, the words that have specific meanings in C# code, you can search online and you will probably get a full list of, the keywords. But for example, here int or integer is used in C# to define a variable of type integer. This is a reserved keyword. So I cannot assign or I cannot choose this word as my identifier. You cannot use the reserved keywords in C# as your identifiers. You cannot have white space You know, you cannot have white space for your identifiers, but you are allowed to use underscore. This is totally fine, right? And your name should, you know, can contain numbers as well. So I can say my age 1, 2, 3. And your name, the identifier that you choose for your, you know, for your variable cannot start with numbers. They must start with a character, with a letter, either uppercase or lowercase, depending on whether you are working with, you know, Pascal casing or Camel casing. But after the letters, you can have numbers, and you're allowed to use underscore. So these are some of the rules, you know, about choosing an identifier when it comes to declaring, for example, variables. But I think the most important thing to remember about C# is that C# is a case-sensitive language. For C#, this variable, for example, as I told you before, and this variable, they are two different variables, and they can have different values. And you can refer back to the value of a variable using the names. For example, I can now console write line these two, right? And then I can run my project, and in the output I will get, you know, two different values for these two variables, because they are two different things for C#. Even though the letters are exactly the same, because of the casing, this, you know, lowercase m and this uppercase m, C# understands this as two different variables. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have enjoyed it. If that's the case, consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already done so, and stay tuned for my upcoming videos. And if you have a friend who is a C# programmer or who is learning how to code in C#, I think it would be a great idea to share this video with him or with her. Thank you so much, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.